bring in Dwane Casey, former Kentucky Wildcat and the head coach of the Toronto Raptors, and he joins me here on the show. Dwane, if you were playing today, how many years would you stay at Kentucky?
If I, I would probably be that. I wasn't one of those one and done guys, Chris. I was a kind of a hardworking Kentucky kid who dreamed of going to Kentucky, and again, even the thought of one and done wasn't even thought of at that time. The idea of that back at that time. So this is kind of a new phenomenon. Back in the 70s when I played, back in the ancient days, we were excited about playing in college and, felt like we were just privileged and lucky to get an opportunity to play in the NBA.
And things have done a total 180 since then, as we've seen with Kentucky, 7 players leaving, a couple of freshmen, a lot of freshmen in this year's draft class. What do you think of the one-and-done rule?
Well, I think, for the players themselves, I think it's good, it's fair, it's what free enterprise is all about. From a coaching standpoint, you would want the guys to stay in and get a season as possible to learn as much about the game of basketball, the fundamentals of basketball as much as possible. From an organizational standpoint, I can understand, obtaining assets or future assets and young players and giving your organization hope for the future. I understand all that. But from a coaching standpoint, you would want guys to, not have to try to develop under your watch and try to win games in the NBA, which is not ideal. But I understand the whole concept, the picture from all angles.
What's the biggest adjustment for a young college player going to the pros?
Chris, I just think just the amount of time, the amount of games, the amount of work that you have to put in, the amount of thinking the game, the nuances, screening angles, how to use screens, how to defend pick and rolls, the multiple ways you have to learn to defend pick and rolls. All those things are paramount as far as a rookie is concerned, and they're so far behind in learning the NBA games, those little things about the NBA game, that it takes, it seems like light years to pick up. So, and then that's not even including the lifestyle, the travel, the free time that you've got to manage away from basketball. So many young kids get caught up in not understanding what to do with that other 22 hours a day or, the free time they have during the day, in a pocket full of money for the first time in their lives, new friends. So it's so many things that a 19, 20-year-old has to deal with that it sometimes is overwhelming.
What do you think of the state of college basketball today?
I think it's good. I've heard all the negative comments and everything like that. There's a few rules that you could change that I think that would help to make college basketball more exciting for the fans and not as long and that type of thing. I think a shorter clock would be great. I think being able to advance the basketball at the end of the games would give the end of games more exciting, sort of like it is in the NBA. Some of those rules, but I think for the most part, the state of college basketball is solid. It's good. Again, the question of the one and done takes away from the alumni getting to know each and every player every year. Like back when I played, you got to intimately know the alumni, the boosters, or even the townspeople around the university, the professors. You got to have a relation. Back when I played at Kentucky, I used to babysit for one of my professors and watch his kids and everything. And so you don't get those type of relationships now because you're only there for a year, maybe 2, and you don't get to develop those friendships.
What was the scouting report on Dwane Casey, the player?
He can't shoot. All he can do is play defense. He plays hard. I was a decent shooter, but my problem, Chris, in high school, I played at a small high school, so I was a forward in high school, small forward in high school at 6'2.5", 6'3", whatever I am. And so I go to Kentucky and I become a point guard. So that was a big transformation for me. But one thing I didn't know I could do, I could defend. I could guard. I could get into people. I could play hard. I could take charges, get on the floor. And in the Kentucky system, they ran the same offense for 50 years. Coach Rupp ran the 6-8-10. Pat Riley and his group ran it. Kevin Greavy and his group ran it, the same offense as I did for the entire time. So it wasn't like we were out there running mid-screening rolls, side-screening rolls, and horns action or anything like that. You ran the guard around, and you knew it in and out, or you didn't play.
He's Dwane Casey, head coach Toronto Raptors, joining us here at Dan Patrick Show. Dwane, I've got an MVP vote, and I've got to cast it tomorrow. Who should I give it to?
Oh, my goodness. I tell you what, right now, okay, Steph Curry has done everything. His team is the winningest team in the NBA right now. I go with winning. What guy helps his team win? I really think he's the guy that makes it go. Talent-wise, top to bottom, LeBron James for me is the guy that is virtually unstoppable in this league when he's rolling. So today for his team is Steph Curry. But overall, I think the top player in our league, pound for pound, is LeBron James.
Okay, you know why you did that? Because there's the potential you play LeBron in the second round.
Oh, my goodness, you caught me. It's just, it's true. Even if we were not having an opportunity to play them, in my heart, I know how difficult he is to guard individually. Even if you double team him, he's such a great passer. He's so big. He's so strong. And he's won a championship. Steph Curry hasn't done it yet.
Do you believe in bulletin board material as a coach? I mean, if you hear criticism of your team, do you feed it back to them?
Well, not that. You kind of slide it in there, but NBA players are so mature. They've probably already read it on Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is. They've already seen it, so it's not going to be the first time they've read it. The guys are so intelligent. You're not going to fool guys or surprise guys. And if it takes bulletin board materials to get you motivated for the playoffs, we're in trouble. And, I think you might slide it in there, word here and there, and make sure guys see it or hear it. But I don't think you intentionally just put it up on the board and say, hey, here's what this guy says. Now we got to go play him harder. So I think that's very difficult to do in today's basketball.
But at the same time, Dwane, you were an assistant coach at Dallas when they won a championship back in 2011. You went up against that Miami team that had so much hype. Did Rick Carlisle nudge these guys and say, everyone's looking at them, they're the stars, we're the old bunch of fogies there, Jason Kidd's our point guard? Was there anything Rick did to play off that?
No, not at all. No, I think Deshaun Stevenson did it for us. He came out and said at that time LeBron James was afraid of him. I don't know if you remember that quote or not.
Yeah.
And we thought he was crazy because, of saying that. But Deshaun felt it. He guarded LeBron back when he was at Washington, the younger LeBron. So that was something that we were against him saying that. But no, Rick wasn't. He wasn't big into bulletin board materials either. And so, but we had an old veteran team. Those guys knew what time of day it was. They knew what their job was going to be at that time. Jason Terry, Tyson, Dirk. There's nothing new that they hadn't seen before or heard before. So they knew what the job that had to be done.
He's Dwane Casey, head coach Toronto Raptors, joining us here at Dan Patrick Show. It seems to me, Dwane, that at least in this group of players, the awards matter. And you hear Steph Curry, he's asked about who should be the MVP. James Harden came out and said, I'm the best player, I should be the MVP. In terms of just all the awards, do they matter to players?
It does. They're lying to you when they tell you that they're human. People are human. It's important. They're competitors, or they wouldn't be at this level. It's important to them, and it should be. It's an honor. And they, but it's. I don't know if it's cool to really say it. It's surprising to hear guys say that they deserve to be it, but deep in their heart, it's important to them. And even though it's an individual honor, they're competitors.
Do you get frustrated when teams rest starters again? If you're in a playoff mix and a team that you're competing with is going up against someone else and that team rests their starters, do you get frustrated as a coach by seeing some of that?
No, I understand it. Believe me, we did it in Dallas. We had an older team, a team that was, had nicks and bumps, and even for us right now, DeMar DeRozan is a little nicked up and banged up, and Kyle's not 100%. So we have that now, Amir Johnson. We have that. I don't like just totally sitting guys out. Limited minutes is probably, if they can go, physically limited minutes is better than, especially if you hadn't, competed at the playoff level numerous times, and you can get your body and mind wrapped around it pretty quickly. because it's very difficult to, if you've set out a few games, to flip a switch and go from zero to the playoff intensity after you've set out a few games.
Been kind of a tough second half for you guys. You lose last night against Boston. How do you feel going into the postseason?
Well, health is huge. Health is huge in this league, and everybody goes through it. We went through it. DeMar DeRozan loses 22 games. Kyle Lowry loses I don't know how many games, and Amir Johnson. So health is important. The second half of the year, we hit the health bug and nicks and bumped up bug, and we weren't 100%. So that got us. But now we're starting to get back 100% again. So, we feel good. We know what we have. We know how we're going to play. It's a big thing for us, Chris. Last year helped us to give us a taste of the playoffs. We know the intensity you got to play with, the focus, the defensive intensity, the physicality of the playoffs. So that's going to help us a lot going into this year's playoff.
Good to visit with you, Dwane. You're killing with kindness strategy. I hope it works off against LeBron that second round.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, Chris.
That's Dwane Casey, head coach, Toronto Raptors.